Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on your notifications so you don't miss an episode. Terrence, we're 2 weeks away from draft day,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
speculation about what Atlanta will do with that fourth pick continues.
William, I think I'm tired of talking about this fourth pick. But let me tell you something. This is probably the first time in a long time that this fourth pick may determine the outlook of the NFL for years to come. I say that because it could be one, two, three, four quarterbacks in a row, or someone trading up for that pick to pick one of the top five quarterbacks that's in this draft that's going to help their organization and their franchise for years to come. Um, you know, I know there's been talk, I've seen something that Jeff Schultz wrote that said, hey, go ahead and pick Matt Ryan's successor and trade Julio Jones. You know what? There's a lot of scenarios and a lot of things that's been thrown out there, things that can help this team in the immediate. But I've said long time before, weeks before, that this team is only a few pieces away of winning the division and playing in the NFC championship game. Now, if you're looking at that as a owner, as a GM, as a head coach, Matt Ryan gives you the best opportunity to win right now. But what does this look like for the future? So, do you draft the Pitts to give them more dynamic weapons on offense so they can go do what they need to do offensively? Do you go draft a corner or a safety in the first round to help yourself solidify some of these big plays against you defensively? So, the thing is, there's a lot of ways you can go with this fourth pick, and I'm gonna say it again. Falcons cannot go wrong. Whatever they do with that pick, they cannot go wrong. It's going to help them in the immediate or even in the future, whichever way they want to go with this.
Yeah, speaking of, of that article that Jeff Schultz wrote, yeah, I read it over too, and I guess the thing that he was trying to make out, it seems like, is he doesn't think that the Falcons are a few players away from going
Right,
back based
right,
on, yeah.
right,
So I guess my question is, and you've said this time and time again, you feel like the Falcons are just a couple of pieces away. And
right,
I have to lean to agree with you, not being a homer. I'm just going based off of how the Falcons played last season.
right.
They had the lead in multiple games that they should have
Hmm.
won. You know,
Right,
you turn those games around that were within one score, the Falcons have a winning record.
right,
At some point, I feel like the team may have, quit behind the old coach, Quinn, at some point. And then after we got Raheem Morris running the show, they seemed to try to turn it around a little bit, but they
right.
still had issues.
Hmm.
Um, I agree. I think that they do need to probably, they still need to try to get a successor very soon. They've got to, because those cap numbers are going to keep
Right,
escalating for both of those guys.
right. Well, and again, it may seem like I'm flip flopping a little bit by what I'm saying, but if you look at this pick, it's just so dynamic.
Yeah.
Now, do you go get Justin Fields at quarterback? If you do that, I'm fine with that, because now you give an opportunity for a guy where Todd McShay says he's not ready yet because he doesn't know how to read through progressions and he throws to his first receiver every time. You know what? This is something where I think, and I'm gonna speak on this because this is how I've been feeling over the years about when there's always something happens close to draft time. Either there's a guy that's being projected to be drafted high and something comes about negatively, something he has done or something somebody has said to drop his draft stock.
Mhm.
Or there's somebody who rises from out of nowhere and becomes one of the top 10 picks. So we're looking at, this is what's happening to Justin Fields. And I truly, truly believe that there's I'm not saying conspiracy, but there's something there where there's a team there that says, like he said, oh, one team evaluated him and seen that out of 200 throws, he threw to his number one target 200 times, only 7 times he got to the second read. Okay, what team is this you're talking about? Is this a team that wants his stock to drop so they can pick him in the first round? It's not conspiracy, but it's almost one of those things of how can we manipulate this draft to get this guy to drop where we want to, where we don't have to trade up and give up a lot of things to go get him. So, and I'm not saying that's happening, but that's what it feels like to me. It just feels fishy to me where this guy was the number 2 quarterback going into the season, and after the end of the season, now you're saying there may be 3-4 other guys picked before him. This is besides Trevor Lawrence, this is the only guy that has played more games than any of these draft picks that's out there, and played in big time games and put up big time numbers. And you trying to tell me he's not NFL ready? I don't care. He's a winner, he's a competitor, and he's a leader, and that's what I want on my football team right now.
Yeah, I just think it's flat out wrong how they're doing Justin Fields. I can say there's other quarterbacks counterparts that even in the history of quarterbacks being selected, that what I mean by that is, I'll just say it frankly, other non-black quarterbacks don't necessarily value drop like that. You can go back to like Mitchell Trubisky, Carson Wentz, all these type of guys that
I was going to say that.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes got bypassed, Deshaun Watson got bypassed.
Yep. You can keep going back to when the Jacksonville Jaguars picked the quarterback out of UCF. I forget his name, but he only played one season and he got drafted before a lot of guys, and these guys are still playing, and he's a young man right now. Yep. And then you look, like you said, Trubisky. Trubisky only played 1 year, and they say, oh, he's that dude, he's that guy. And look who went after him and who's still playing at a high level, taking their teams to the playoffs and championship games. You know what? And guess what? It's always the black quarterbacks that are the ones that get picked on during draft time. When I say picked on, so there's stock and drop, and then there's one that rises over, and then now we got to carry this chip on our shoulders going into the NFL to prove that we can play at a high level, and we do. And that's the thing. And you stop.
I agree.
Stop. Just stop.
Try to make Lamar Jackson a wide receiver.
Just stop.
Like you said, Fields, other than Lawrence, has the best body of work. I mean, he played in the biggest games in collegiate football, and he played well in those games.
Yes.
And I mean, it was the semifinal game. It was all off the charts.
Right.
Oh, Fields might go 1 or Trevor Lawrence might go 1. It was 1 or 2, but like you said,
1 or 2.
Now they're trying, like you said,
talking about he's the 5th quarterback. He's the 5th quarterback. Now understand this. This is just one man's opinion. Now, if there's 32 owners, 32 GMs, and 32 head coaches that are listening to him and taking his advice without doing their due diligence, shame on you. Shame on you. Because this is your organization and you're supposed to evaluate to the best of your abilities and not listen to someone else who is so-called an expert, who has never been on the sideline, coached a game, played in the game, called plays in the game, and you're going to listen to him over your experts? Shame on you if you do.
Yeah, and that, speaking of Todd McShay, I saw where, the Patriots, and speaking of the Patriots, because they were at the workout yesterday, Justin Fields had to have a second workout. I mean, that's another thing. Why did he have to have a second workout?
Right.
But he had to have a second workout. So 49ers were there, Patriots and the Falcons. But the Patriots are there so they could be the one thing, like you said, they could possibly want to make a trade up for like Atlanta's pick. But I saw where McShay said that Fields could possibly drop to about 10, the Patriots can move to 10 or 11 and pick him up at that spot. And that's unreal to see him drop to 10, but he was going to be maybe the first or second pick in the draft.
So it has McShay and the Patriots been talking?
Exactly.
So does does McShay say, let me help you get this pick by saying these things, and let's find out if he's really quality first four picks in the draft? It's just one of those things that is just kind of odd. We're a couple of weeks away, and then all of a sudden, this guy went from the number two best quarterback, arguably one or two in the country, and now he may drop to the 10th pick in the draft. Come on, man. I just don't believe it. And nothing has changed from his what has changed from his first workout to his second workout in between there that you say now he's not a quality first four picks in the draft. No, you can't tell me something's changed in between that time. It's just somebody speaking. What happens, you get bored and you try to make up stories and find things that gets people interested in then watching you. No, it hasn't changed. The dynamics hasn't changed. He still is one of the top two quarterbacks in this draft, period.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And like I said, that may be the Falcons' next quarterback. It's still a high probability that they may draft Justin Fields with that number 4 pick. I know yesterday at the workout, I saw some pictures and he was dapping up some of the Falcons front office and coaches, and it was like a handshake that looks like, hey, you're coming home. So,
right. You know what? And that'd be nice. It'll be a great story. It'll be a great story for a young man who played here in the state of Georgia, got recruited by the University of Georgia, left the University of Georgia, and now he's back home. I mean, it's a great story. But think about this. What is Kirby Smart thinking? Oh my God. Come on, man.
Yeah, Fromm's backing up in Buffalo behind Josh Allen almost.
Right. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, it'll all pan out. And as we talked about before we came on here, is next week we will have my mock draft of the first round.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting. I know you're going to be tuning in to see who I picked at number 4. I know that.
I know I am. I'm very interested to see who you're going to pick. Looks like the Falcons making some more moves. They added another tight end, Ryan Becker, formerly of the Cardinals.
Well, this is the thing. Now you got 4 tight ends on your roster. I'm trying not to read into this too much. Mm-hmm. Maybe you are trying to draft a quarterback and make it easy on him, run the ball more, do more play action and short game stuff, RPO stuff, to make him comfortable. I don't know, but it's odd that you keep going getting these tight ends. But then, then there was something else. Cordell Patterson, the Falcons have visited with, and a return guy, not only a return guy, but a big play guy coming out of the backfield and lining up at receiver. That would be a huge pickup for us special teams wise.
Definitely would. It'd cut back probably on some of them fair catches because he's a guy that's gonna bring noise and possibly return those to the house. He's definitely an explosive player. Field
position is key. Field position is key. If you get a kickoff and you can advance it past the 35-yard line, you have a short field. If you can get a punt and get 10 plus yards, anything after 10 yards after a punt return, that's like a first down, and that's gravy, man. And we need a guy that can be explosive and break a game wide open. We haven't had that since Devin Hester.
When you were returning kicks or punts, what goes through your mind? I know you always said everything goes silent around you. But once that ball gets in hand, is everybody just coming like a million miles an hour?
Well, kickoff returns is a little bit easier because of the fact that you don't have to worry about somebody hitting you in the chin after you catch the ball whatsoever. My first thought is get the ball past the 20-yard line. Yeah. That's my first thought, because you don't ever want to make it a long field. And then my second thought is get as much as you can. And if you can break one. Get north and south, not east and west, and make sure you take care of the football and you don't turn the ball over. Now, punt returns is a little bit different, is because it's all about field position on punt return. Even fair catching it, making sure you get the ball. The key is making sure you catch the football first on punt return. If you have an opportunity to return it, we've always been taught get 10 yards as quick as you can. And then after that, whatever happens after that is a bonus. And that was my thought. That was my thought. People don't understand my rookie year. I led the league in punt returns
Dang.
yardage.
Okay.
I had like 15 plus average in punt return, but I didn't have enough to be qualified as the leader. I was like, man, whatever.
Oh, on kick returns, what would make you come out the end zone? Like, is there a certain
um,
amount of
if it's a line drive kick, if it's a line drive kick, I know I have time. If it's in the air for a while and I have to sit up under it and watch it, I'm not bringing it out. But
okay.
you do have time when that ball is in the air to look to see how close, how fast they're coming. And I used to do that a lot to determine if I was going to bring it out or not.
Okay. Okay. Appreciate that insight. Looks like the NFL is pushing back off-season programs like voluntary workouts due to COVID concerns because there were numerous teams that said they weren't going to participate. Do you think that? Where do you think it's going to go for the rest of the off-season as far as training camp and mini camp? Do you think it'll have an effect on that like it did last year?
Well, you know what? I was thinking about that earlier today about the way there's OTAs and mini camps and all those things. Back in when we played, we didn't have OTAs.
Mhm.
We had a mini camp, but we never had OTAs. And I don't understand what's the purpose of OTAs. I mean, at the end of the day, you should be training, lifting, running, because that's your profession. You're a pro, so that's what you should be doing. So then I look at it, I said they made OTAs for the overall overhaul of brand new coaches, head coaches in the NFL. I mean, when I say new head coaches that have never coached at that level as a head coach before, that's young, so they get around their team, implement, get to know them, put in what they need to put in and learn more and more. Because back in the day, you had so many veteran coaches and veteran teams that all you had to do was do off season conditioning and lifting voluntarily, and then have a mini camp, and then go into training camp in July.
Mhm.
But it's like April all the way into July. And then you wonder why these guys get hurt
Yeah.
because they're doing too much all the time. And you say, well, they're not really running around a lot, this and that. Yeah, yes, they are. Don't get food. Don't get food. They're out there running around, running routes, covering, they doing stuff. And that's why you see, oh, such and such tore ACL in OTAs. How does that happen?
Yeah.
Well, if he was resting and taking care of his body during that period, all he had to do was mini camp and training camp, he may make it through a season. But it's funny because you only get, what is it, 3 preseason games. So how much practice do you need? And they just proved it after not having it last year that it was a successful season. It was a really good football season, very competitive. So almost you get rid of OTAs. Get rid of OTAs. Have a mini camp. Put in your scheme. These are pros. They're gonna understand what they're gonna pick it up in a hurry. Then have your mini camp and then go on to your preseason and the season. That's my thought.
So what do you say to the people who are like, well, last year we had a lot of injuries. Injuries might have been up, or is it just because maybe the star players were hurt and it seemed like injuries were up? But I guess what is your take on that? Because people are like, well, injuries they need those. They need those extra time because it gets their body into shape.
Mhm.
Is that so? That's not the case.
Well, as I said earlier, as a pro that's making a whole lot of money in a profession, and if you can't take care of your body and get in shape the way you need to get in shape, shame on you. Do you need somebody over you? Well, if that's the case, okay, the facility is open for you.
Yeah.
So you can go in with the strength and conditioning coach and get into shape and lift and do all those things. But at the end of the day, if you're a professional, that means you're going to do everything necessary to stay a professional and do the things that professionals do. You'll work out without having to go to OTAs and do all those things.
What's the big difference between mini camp and training camp?
Mini camp is it's a 3-day deal, and basically all you're doing is preparing for training camp. So you're having your meetings, your install, whatsoever, what you want to see going into training camp and going into the season. And then basically is getting the new guys acclimated to the environment and to what you want to do. So mini camp is usually good for, your free agent guys, your returning guys that were rookies and on the practice squad, to see where they are and see how you want to implement them into your system. So that's what mini camps are pretty much for.
Did they let you? Did you have to stay on site, or you get to go back and forth from your house? 'Cause I know training camp you have to stay usually on.
Well, mini camp was different. You had well, we stayed on site.
Okay.
We were always on site whatsoever. In Swanee when we had the
Mhm.
facility in Swanee. Flowery Branch, not so. We stayed at home because we didn't have what they have now with the apartments behind the practice facility whatsoever. But it was, mini camps were important, were very important, because you wanted to see. For me, I wanted to see what kind of shape I was in from all the training I did before mini camp. So that was fun for me.
Okay. So y'all hear that, athletes? It's a year-round process. It sounds like you were doing it year-round, regardless. If there were OTAs, you still had your own personal OTAs or workouts long before mini
Yeah.
camp. Well, we don't have any questions this week from any fans, so make sure y'all get those in. What do you got for us, Terrence, for your throwback this week?
Oh man, you know what? I didn't think about it much. I didn't think about it much. I wanna have a throwback real quick, and let me tell you a fun season I had. I'm not saying it was the best, but it was a really fun season. You had Ironhead Hayward in the backfield, Bert Emanuel, Eric Metcalf, Ricky Sanders, and myself, and Jeff George at quarterback. And that was the year that you had four guys go over 1,000 yards. You
Okay.
had three receivers go over 1,000. You had a running back over 1,000. Jeff George threw for almost
Run and
30,
shoot.
almost like 3,500, 3,800 yards. And Ricky was close to 1,000 with like 8 something, 800 and something. So you're talking about a fun year. That was the year. I think was that the 96? That was the season we went to the playoffs, played the 49ers in the last game of the year, and the winning, where I caught the ball, dove in the
Yep.
end zone. It's so funny. I dove in the end zone for the winning touchdown and get us into the playoff. If there was replay, that ball would have been caught back.
For real?
My knee hit the ground about a yard out.
Wow.
So that was the 95, that was 95 season. So that was a remarkable year. It was a fun year. Man, I look back and I miss football. Not actually the grind of it whatsoever. I do miss game day. I miss travel day. But what I miss the most is the locker room.
Yeah.
The locker room, the respect that we had for each other in that locker room was amazing. And it for every guy, no matter where you come from, what your background, how much money you made, whatsoever, we all treated each other as equals in that locker room. And I tell people all the time, I'm gonna leave you with this. I tell people all the time, football is probably the only business where you can get 53 guys together that have different backgrounds, ethnicities, sizes whatsoever, religious beliefs, and they all fighting for one cause, and that's to win football games. You don't see that in corporate America because you have somebody that wants this deal, so you're gonna backstab this person in this deal, this deal. You look at America as a whole. You have black, white, Asians, Muslims, all these different groups, and somehow we can't come together for one common cause, and that's peace. We can't do it, and that's why football is almost. If you look at football, it should be the microcosm of what society should be. Because even when we do play, you have 70 or 80,000 people in the stands from different backgrounds, different races, all high-fiving each other, supporting your football team. But when you leave the stadium and get in your car, you forget about that and go back and be separate again. And that's not how we should be. That's not how we should be. And someday, one day, hopefully, we'll get there.
Well said. Well said, Terrence. I can speak from the fan perspective, being in the stands, and you're right. From all walks of life, inside that stadium, you be the best as friends, and they love you, and this, that, and the third. But like I said, when they get back in their car and go home, and now even get on social media, and you're like, is this the same person I know?
Right.
Well,
Right.
I thank everyone for joining us and tuning in. I hope everyone has a great day. Anything else for them, Terrence?
You know what? Nothing. Hey, just subscribe, 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 subscribe. And we're going to be pushing that because look, this thing is going to, once you got to understand, once draft is over with, oh, we getting close to the season. Now things are starting to get juicy. We're going to start talking about the division and everything else after the draft and see where we are.
It's going to fly by. Everybody stay tuned. And like he said, make sure to subscribe. Bye, everyone.
Peace.